The Cerastus Knight Lancer in plastic will be crashing into Games Workshop stores next Saturday, and you can use this in, obviously, games of Horus Heresy, but you can use this in games of Warhammer 40k as well. The rules are in the app, and they're also free to download online somewhere on the Warhammer community page. They're somewhere on there. Basically, if you type the 40k rules for these, you'll find them. That's for 40k. Horus Heresy is a different matter. I want to talk about it all because plastic, nice big new plastic miniature. Thanks to Games Workshop for sending this through to me, so I've got my hands on it so I can talk about it and share it all with you guys. This is the first of the Cerastus Knights that they're going to be doing in plastic, so really looking forward to some of the other models that come out, particularly the one with the sword and the big Gatling gun. The transfer sheet that came with this is absolutely poggers. Let's take a look inside. This is all that's left inside. Because I built and painted it, I own Knights. This one is absolutely gorgeous, and I wanted to get it stuck together as soon as possible. Assembly. Like most of the new Games Workshop computer-aided design kits, assembling the Knight Lancer was very easy. And like most of the Knights, well, like all the other Knights, the legs come in one or two poses. That being a right foot forward or left foot forward. If you want to get something different other than these two poses, then you're going to have to get your chainsword out. So only one of two posable opportunities in the bottom half, but just like all the other Knights, plenty of posable opportunities in the top half. Yes, I did his big stick up in this direction because I just knew that if it was pointed down all the time, I'm just going to be smashing over miniatures all the time because I play with my miniatures, and I also think it looks particularly cool. Painting. I painted the miniature using paints and a brush. I decided to apply the paint to the brush and then to the miniature, and then it turned out like this. I painted all my Knights in the same colours. Here's a lovely family photograph. I didn't want one green, one pink, one blue. And this technique on top of the Knights is called stippling, and there is a tutorial section on the Winter's SEO playlists if you scroll across. And I did do it about 28 years ago, but it's still valid, the tutorials stippling thing. And I also did my bases, and there's a tutorial on that, like how to do bases quickly. These are sterling mud technical paint bases with some stuff glued onto them and lots of dry brushing. More painting and assembly stuff. I should point out that it comes with these lovely banner things, but I'm not that talented, so I didn't do them. 40k rules. We'll talk about the Horus Heresy rules in a bit because they're interesting too. I'm not going to go through all the Imperial Knight rules. I'm just going to talk about the rules for the Cerastus Knight Lancer. But before I do, did you know that you could add a knight to any Imperium army or 3 baby knights? So if you play Space Marines, Sisters, Custodes, Grey Knights, Guard, you can just throw a knight in. I think it'd work particularly good in an Imperial Guard army with all the guns and then a big stompy knight going forward who's very, very good at close combat. Right, let's take a look at the rules. Questorus Knights. These are Questorus Knights. They have 22 wounds. Dominus Knights. These are Dominus Knights. They have 24 wounds. The Knight Lancer has 25. Has more wounds. That's got 13 toughness. That's got 12 toughness. But 12 toughness, 25 wounds. And all knights have a 5-up invulnerable save against shooting attacks. But this one has this big, nasty ion shield. And that is a flat 4-up invulnerable save to shooting and close combat. He can use it in close combat. Oh my. Dominus Knights. Movement value of 8. Questorus Knights. Movement value of 10. Little Babby Knights can move 12. But the Knight Cerastus never skips leg day, movement value of 14. So more wounds, better invulnerable save, and faster than all of the other knights. But he does fall off a cliff a little bit with the shock lance. He's built for speed and close combat. Most of the other knights can shoot really, really well. But this gun's only got 6 shots, and it hits on 3s at strength 6 -2 damage. So it's an infantry killer. It is assault. So he can run and shoot those 6 shots. And it has got sustained hits too. So every 6 to hit will count as 3 hits, but it's only 12-inch range. A Knight Crusader is chonking out a lot of firepower. A Knight Valiant is burning heretics and harpooning baby seals. The Knight Lancer, on the other hand, is only tickling infantry with his giant tickly stick. When he shoots at them, 12-inch range, strength 6 -2 damage, but where he shines is close combat. That shock lance in close combat is strength 20, -3, 8 damage with 5 attacks. Or you can double the number of attacks for a sweep attack, so 10 attacks, strength 10, -2, 3 damage. Now I know what you're thinking. Strength 20 at 8 damage each. That's not very good. Only 5 attacks when you're punching a Land Raider. Well, 2s to hit is pretty good, but 3s to wound your Land Raider normally at its high toughness. No, they've given it Lance as well. So that's strength 20 and +1 to wound on the charge. Basically, those 5 attacks are hitting on 2s and wounding on 2s pretty much no matter what. It's the scariest knight in the dojo, but it has one more party trick up its sleeve. Imperial Knights have something called bondsman abilities. The Knight Crusader, for example, can throw out a bondsman ability to one of the Armigers within 12, and when it does that, the Knight Crusader and the Armiger both benefit from the rule. What is that rule on a Crusader? +1 to hit in the shooting phase. The Knight Errant can throw out its bondsman abilities to one of the Armigers within 12 inches, and both the Errant and the Armiger benefit from that bondsman ability. What is that bondsman ability? It gives weapons the assault wound. The assault, it gives them assault. Shooty weapons, the assault. The Knight Lancer, what does it do? Advance and charge. Yes, advance and charge. That means in turn 1, this thing is moving 14 inches and advancing up to D6 inches and probably putting it on a little warglaive as well. And then it can charge after that. Potential first turn charges with the Knight Lancer. Just like the other big knights, he's a character, so you can put enhancements on him as well. You can't rotate ion shields on him because he doesn't have an ion shield. He has that ion gauntlet, so you can't get cheeky and put that 4-up invulnerable save up to a 3-up invulnerable save. 450 points, which is the same as a Knight Paladin, but the one thing he does is add some much needed close combat resilience to a knight list, because knights do not have invulnerable saves in close combat, except this one. Now, all the knights you see in front of you can be taken in games of Horus Heresy as well. I mean, the Knight Lancer, it comes in the Horus Heresy box. Here's the Horus Heresy book that you're going to need if you want to play knights in Horus Heresy. And just like you can bring 3 blades, a single knight in any Imperium detachment in Heresy, you can bring one of the knights, where is it? This one. In any Crusade force. This is the standard Crusade force org chart. You can bring Emperor's Children, World Eaters, Night Lords, whatever it is. And this thing in here doesn't need to be Emperor's Children, World Eaters, whatever it is. This can be an Imperial Knight. If you want to run an all-knight list in Horus Heresy, this is the force org. And basically for every 2 baby knights, you get a big knight. 2 troops, 1 Lord of War. Helverins and Warglaives are 200 points each, and the big knight 400 points. So this is 800 sat right there, which means you're looking at a maximum of 3 big knights in a standard 3,000 point list. Here's the stats and let's break it down. 4 attacks, 5 attacks on the charge with a weapon skill of 4. Weapon skill of 4, a little bit disappointing. That means it's hitting most things on 4s, but you really want to throw this thing against Dreadnoughts and Primarchs and things like that, and it'll be hitting them on 5s. On the plus side, all attacks must go against the front armour of 13, and it has got 7 hull points. And because it's a Lord of War, it ignores all that shaken, stunned, immobilised stuff. You just take hull points on it bit by bit by bit. But yeah, armour 13 means strength 9 contempted Dreadnoughts are wounding this thing on 5s. The only thing that's really going to wound it on a 4-up is anything strength 10 or higher. The Ion Gauntlet Shield gives it a 5-up invulnerable saving throw against shooting attacks which target its front and side, and a 5+ invulnerable save against all melee attacks, which in Heresy is pretty darn strong. And the Shock Lance is strength 10, AP 2, Reach 1, Exoshock. What does all that mean? Well, Reach means you're striking at initiative 5, not initiative 4, so you're typically going first against most things. Exoshock means if you get a penetrating hit on a vehicle, roll a 5+ and you do an additional penetrating hit. But the downside to it, obviously, is that it is not brutal. So against Dreadnoughts, it's still only doing 1 wound. Against Leviathan Dreadnoughts, it's still going to struggle. But Strength 10 AP2 means it's insta-killing anything that's not a Dreadnought. And at AP2 Exo Shock, it's going to be killing vehicles as well. Remember, it's going to be hitting vehicles on 2s in Horus Heresy. So, just like most melee things, in games of Horus Heresy, it's going to be good against everything except Dreadnoughts. I find myself saying that a lot. Heresy players out there will know the only really good thing against Dreadnoughts is other Dreadnoughts or Primarchs. There's a few other exceptions, but that's the general rule. Shooting the Shock Lance, not 12-inch range like 40k, we play on bigger boards. It's 18-inch range. Strength 7 AP3, it's still an anti-infantry killer. Heavy 6 concussive 2. That's 6 shots, hitting on 3s, killing on 2s if anything has a 3-up save. And concussive doesn't come up very much, but basically it works like this. If you get a wound through on a model and don't kill that model must pass the leadership test. If it fails the leadership test, then it'll lose 2, concussive 2, to its weapon skill. Again, Dreadnoughts will have their 2-up save, but if they fail the save, then fail their leadership, you could drop a Dreadnought down to weapon skill 3. But that isn't going to happen very much. You're mainly going to want to shoot this at infantry or maybe light vehicles, skimmers, scimitars, things like that. And concussive is one of those rules that rarely comes up, but when it does, it's sweet. Now, it's party piece, movement of 14 with flank speed. When declaring a charge after making a shooting attack, a model with a special rule may charge a unit that it did not target in that turn's shooting phase, but wait, it gets even better than that. A model with a special rule may increase its movement distance by 4 in any movement phase. It doesn't make a shooting attack, so that's right, this thing can move 18 and charge. Wait, it gets worse. If you bring Questora's Household Force Orc, basically all knights, it unlocks household ranks, all these little upgrades that you can pay to stick on your knights. For 30 points, a model with this upgrade increases its move characteristic by 4 and gains the character unit subtype and the scout. An outflank. Scout. So before the game begins, you can scout it forward 6 inches. Then when the game starts, it's got a movement characteristic of 18. And you can flank speed. Add another 4 inches to that. A 22-inch move if you don't shoot. Then charge. That means it's moved 28 inches in turn 1, if it doesn't shoot its gun, before it even charges. That is scary spice. But it's Heresy, it gets deeper. As soon as you've upgraded a knight to a character, they may never issue or accept challenges unless it's against a knight, titan or a monstrous unit subtype, and then they must always accept challenges, and they can never they can never use the our weapons are useless rule either. So basically going against Primarchs or other big knights or stuff like that, you have to challenge and you're stuck until that challenge is over. Heresy. Loads of little janky rules which I love, which add so much flavour. What I'm saying is this knight is good in 40k, it's good in 30k, it's fast and tough in both of those game systems, and it looks juicy, it's really tall, and it's finally out in plastic. And why I didn't get one when it was resin, I don't know, I was busy collecting other stuff, I guess. You can add it to any army without it janking any of the army rules. It's a joy to put together and paint, and I think Games Workshop knocked it out of the park with this one. Okay, so what do you think about knights? Do you like them? Have you played with them or against them recently? What is your favourite knight, or what knight would you like to see released in plastic from Games Workshop? Thank you for watching this video, and if you'd like to support me and get more videos from me, then consider becoming a channel member. Massive shout out to all my subscribers and my channel members and anyone living in Bromley. Thanks for taking one for the team. Happy wargaming.